to Feel 50 Salute to International Women's Day. Feel 50 is one of HR's AI-driven talent experience platforms delivering career solutions throughout the world. I'm Rhonda Taylor, your host for today. And on this International Women's Day, we're focusing on two ladies, Fulton and Joe Mills, who are Feel 50 founders. Did you know that only 5% of tech startups are owned by women? So these two women are very special. So welcome, Joe and Anne. Welcome to the show. So I'm going to ask each one of you to introduce yourselves. Anne, let's go with you first.
Yeah, hi Rhonda, and great to be able to share our story as being one of the few 5% of tech startups that are actually female-led. So as far as we're concerned, it's been a fun and fabulous journey, and yeah, really happy to share some of our learnings with the wider community on International Women's Day.
Okay, great. And Joe, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, super happy to be here on the call and representing Fuel 50. As Anne said, we've had an amazing ride with our business. It's been an exceptional learning opportunity as well as so much joy along the way. So happy to share any of our stories and what we've been doing to help others come along on a similar journey.
Great. And let's just set the tempo or the climate for this discussion with these two trailblazers in the HR technology space. Did you know that only 20% of HR technology workforce are women? Another tidbit is that some women are paid up to less than 30% of their male colleagues in HR technology. And when it comes to computer science, 1 in 5 computer engineers are women. So these women definitely have stepped out and are leading the way. So I'm going to ask Anne first. And as a founder of a tech company, how have you found working in the tech sector?
Yes, thanks for that question, Rhonda, because I think as female founders of a technology company, I think generally, we're as accepted as our male counterparts when it comes to leading a vision for how a technology company can make impact for good, which is our mission at Fuel 50, which is to create level playing fields for people across the world when it comes to leveraging their talent and potential at work. So that's our mission. So we're very, very inclusive in our business vision and our mission. And yeah, it's been really fun to champion this vision of fairer, more inclusive talent experiences and workplaces for everyone around the world. So, women, men, people of color, whatever it may be, we're really passionate about being able to champion fair, transparent, inclusive talent experiences within a workplace.
Right. And Joe, how do you increase the representation? How do you feel we're going to increase the representation of women in technology?
Yeah, that's a really hard one to answer, Rhonda. So, it is a massive issue of how do we increase the amount of women that are in the technology sector and in leading businesses as well. I'm quite inspired by the work that a lot of people are doing in this space already to try and combat this. One of the people in particular is Rashma Sajani, who founded Girls Who Code. She's got a great TED Talk on teaching girls bravery and helping them to go beyond that need for perfection and take risks with their career and their learning. But she also talks about how you cannot dream and you cannot be what you cannot see. And I think this is a really important point for how do we inspire people to follow that tech career. I'm personally inspired by Whitney Wolfe-Herd this week, the Bumble founder, who is the youngest self-made female billionaire with her tech company Bumble. Super inspiring to hear that story, and also really inspiring to hear the stories of the likes of Rashmi with her foundation that have reached the lives of over 185,000 girls. So I think there's two sides. There's the inspiration and getting those great stories out there, And then secondly, providing the tools and the mechanisms for people to access the education they need to make those dreams a reality.
And the interesting part of her work is that a lot of her work is also being done in third world countries. So like, gosh, we have this problem in developed countries, and yet she's such a visionary, and just incredible visionary. In the process of building Field 50 to what it is today, what challenges have you faced due to being a woman? And I'm going to give this to Anne.
I think, I'd really say that we've had no challenges that differ from our male counterparts when it comes to be a tech entrepreneur. So, I think they've been very, very minimal, and I think anyone may have faced, kind of different challenges anyway. And I think, we've done over 200 pitches. We've had incredible deal progression right through Silicon Valley and, across the USA and sometimes into Europe and, throughout Australasia. So, of hundreds and hundreds of pitches that we've done, never once, or maybe only once in my entire time of doing this, have we felt, challenged for being female entrepreneurs. And even when we were given that challenge, we were able to turn it around, because I think really we're still judged on our business metrics and our business velocity and our SaaS metrics and our outcomes and the impact that we're delivering, to our clients and the career experiences of people around the world. So I think it's our outcomes that speak for themselves. And, to me, really, when it comes down to the technology investment field, it has felt that gender has been irrelevant. Although there are some, reports that suggest we may face some increased challenges. I think in reality, if your business proposition, your vision, your mission, and your metrics are strong enough, we can stand up alongside anyone.
Yes, I agree, but there still is the old guard in some places. And Joe, can you tell us, have you had any challenges that you faced in the development of Field 50?
Yeah, thanks, Rhonda. It's a really great question. And as Anne said, I think anybody that starts a business will face a roller coaster of opportunities and challenges ahead. But as we know throughout the world, there is systemic bias that perpetuates every piece of the fabric of life, including business. And it was interesting, I was reading an article, it's a few years old now, from 2017 in HBR, where they surfaced some research done on analysis of the questions that were asked of female entrepreneurs during pitch events. And as Anne said, there's been hundreds and hundreds of those that we've completed, across the globe. But what was interesting about this research was they analysed the questions that were asked of female entrepreneurs versus male entrepreneurs. And the male entrepreneurs were asked questions which were very positive and promotional in focus. So all about gains and growth and strategy. And the female entrepreneurs were asked questions that were very preventative and around loss prevention and, a very safe and road ahead, and how do you prevent losses. And they did analysis around, the types of companies to make sure that they were, sort of a level playing field. And they found that there was a significant impact on the questions that were asked on the type of funding that those people got. So I think the bias that's inherent can be a little bit hidden, and it's really hard to know what that impact has on your own trajectory. As Anne said, we've done pretty well and we've had some great successes, but I do acknowledge that there's lots and lots of other female founders that have been, asked, different kinds of questions, and that have faced those barriers as they've worked their way through.
Oh, definitely.
I've ever seen any systemic bias, potentially appear is at the governmental agency level, and very, very historic, and again hasn't held us back one iota. So I think I think it's possible, as long as we're focusing on business outcomes and metrics and showing growth trajectories, we have every opportunity.
Yeah, stay true to your goals. Yeah. So Anne, this pandemic has affected women in an incredible way. And in fact, here in Canada, they're calling it a she-demic. How has the pandemic affected the workforce?
I mean, yeah, that really does sadden me, Rhonda, to hear that. And, McKinsey put out a report towards the end of last year and showed that, women are nearly twice as vulnerable, or women's jobs are nearly twice as vulnerable than men's through the pandemic, and women making up 39% of total employment globally, but account for 54% of the overall job losses. So, we've got to be really, really careful and inclusive in making sure that we're caretaking the roles, the positions of women, creating opportunities that are supportive and that fit with any other external demands, because obviously this trend is something that has reversed hard work that's been done over decades to improve the participation of women. Where we've been growing in participation in the labour force, since the 70s, year on year. And then for the first time since 1986, we've seen that reverse from participation in the workforce from 55% down to 46%. And 865,000 women left the workforce last year, largely attributed to the pandemic, compared to 216,000 men. So I think the way that we're reading this, and we've seen such a incredible surge towards talent marketplace philosophies and the work that we're doing to actually increase the demand for the solutions that we're providing, which creates an open opportunity marketplace for everyone across your workforce in a way that's really fair and inclusive and transparent, so everyone can see these opportunities, whether it's a stretch assignment, a project, or a job, or a learning opportunity. So to us, it's so important that the opportunities are extended fairly to everyone, and that attention is given to the way that AI is applied in HR to make sure that there is no adverse impact unintentionally in any of your talent systems. So we're incredibly careful and are championing ethical practice around AI in career mobility and HR in particular.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's so sad to see, high performers, women in C-suites handing in their resignation because of childcare, or taking care of elderly parents, because nobody wants to put their parents in a long-term care facility right now. So it really is a challenge for the women. I guess, Joe, is there enough being done to promote equality in the workplace in this day and age?
I think the answer to that is that, we're all constantly learning and evolving, and so are our workplaces and their practices. So the answer is no, there's never going to be enough. We always have to continue to learn and evolve the way we work and have a focus on creating a really inclusive workplace. Yeah. So it's an ongoing development that we should always be focused on.
Yeah, and to follow up with that, and what advice would you give other women in the tech space about their careers?
I think it really comes down to, believe in yourself, believe in your vision and mission, and execute to that vision so that there's a strong story to be told. So, it is about, bringing your best capabilities and talent and commitment, to the work that you're doing. And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Increasingly, there's new roles emerging in organizations called the remote work facilitator. So there's potentially people in HR that, or within your organization that may be able to help you manage your workload, particularly if you've got extra demands on you at any time. So, asking for help, can go a long way.
Joe, do you have anything to add to that?
I think as an entrepreneur, I'd encourage everybody to go down that path. Entrepreneurship is a vehicle that can really set you free and help you to maximize your own potential. You should never put a cap on what you can do with your life, and set your sights high, and follow that dream. Because as Anne said, with enough passion and hard work and help, you can make it happen.
Right. And the final question, and it's kind of, it's very close to home. Before we wrap up, want to talk about tech companies that are owned by women are 3 times more likely to be successful. Joe, why do you think this is so?
So I think there's a few things in there. One is comes back to some of Rashma's work that she's doing around encouraging girls to be brave and not perfectionists. But I think that encouragement for perfection means that we strive really hard to get the results that we've promised to our investors and staff. So that strive for execution. I personally think that's made a massive difference to our business. I don't know if that's a female trait, but I certainly think it's an entrepreneurial trait that leads to success.
Anne, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that, you know, across the VCs and angel funds that we've been involved with, you know, that we have stood out, and other female-led companies have stood out in terms of their execution and delivery on promise, and perhaps it's more careful projections. You know, we're more careful in what we promise, and really passionate about delivering or over-delivering where we can. So I think, you know, building that reputation for deliver on promise has certainly been a characteristic that I've observed in female-led companies.
Yeah. Well, it's come to the end, ladies. So I want to thank Ann Fulton and Joe Mills, co-owners of Field 50. These ladies are demonstrating tremendous leadership skills as Field 50 evolves to be a leader in their space. Thank you to the audience for joining us on this salute to International Women's Day, where we are celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women globally. This is Rhonda Taylor from Field 50, asking you all to work and play fair. Bye now.